Welcome back, everyone, to the Complete Pineleaf, where today we will begin Season 11 of the Complete Pineleaf, and that means we'll need to speak with Gandalf here to see what chapter he has next. By coincidence, Chapter 11 to the Black Book of Mordor. Let's see what's in there.
We find ourselves in a curious position.
The shade of Isildur was bound to the land where he fell, much as was the shade of Arvedui in Forhel. But here Isildur's shade was kept hidden from searching eyes by the arts of Gulthava, the Maiden of the Gladden. Her sorceries made him forget, but as they fell away I believe his memories will return. He could tell us much of what befell during the opening years of the Third Age, when he perished in the Gladden fields and the ring was lost. I and others of the wise have pieced together some of the story, but here we have an occasion to learn the true account, and I would not miss it. But this is not merely an academic interest, Pineleaf, as important as that may be. No, the shade of Isildur may shed some light on another matter that concerns us most directly. I trust you have not forgotten the Black Book of Mordor and the dread Gurzil who seek it? I certainly haven't forgotten those. I have not yet deciphered all of its pages, but my study did reveal frequent appearances of the name Moguldir within the covers. Now the record shows that an elf named Moguldir served in the company of the High King Gilgalad during the siege of Barad-dûr in the close of the Second Age. Can this be the same Moguldir? I think it may be, and the Shade of Isildur could help us learn of him. I propose that we return to Tolsen and speak with Isildur, but not alone. No, let us bring some others who also fought at the siege, and who might help Isildur recover his memories. I speak of two elf lords who come to the Bjorninghus at the most fortuitous time, Elrond and Glorfindel, both on Rivendell. Bring them word of my intent, and let us meet at the Isle of Flowers on the Gladden Fields, where we will speak with the Shade. All right, let's speak with Elrond, see what he has to say about this, and maybe we could get a window of the past, or on the past. Hello there, sir. Gandalf would like us to meet Isildur again so that we could piece together some memories.
I expected these words.
I expected these words, for when I learned the shade of Isildur remained bound to this place, I knew it would not be long before Gandalf desired to press him for knowledge of the disaster that befell him after the war. Muggle dear? I too fought at the siege of Barad-dûr, but I don't remember an elf by that name. He cannot have been high in the councils of Gilgalad, Pineleaf, or I would surely remember him. No, that's unfair. Many were the heroes who fought alongside the last alliance, of every kind, elves, men, Durin's folk, and even some of the whole Búlin rose up to oppose the threat of Sauron. I don't claim to know each of these heroes personally. Moguldir may have accomplished some great feat without attribution. Even if he did not, to perform one's duty without the expectation of glory is still worthy of praise and remembrance. The War of the Last Alliance and the Siege of Barad-dûr that concluded it ended in victory, Pineleaf, but there was sorrow too. The cost was high. Even if his memory returns, the shade of Isildur may not wish to speak of it to us. Let Gandalf gird himself against disappointment, if that be so. You should ask Glorfindel if he wishes to accompany us at Tol Send. He also fought at the siege of Barad-dûr, and will no doubt be interested in anything the shade of Isildur might say to us. Makes me wonder what kind of dialogue you get with a high elf, considering that a High Elf would also have been, well, would have been to the last alliance, would not have been to the siege because of incidents. Hello there.
Margot, dear. The name is familiar, but not for any particular deed or duty.
Moguldir was a warrior in Gilgalad's train, I believe, but one of many. I think I set him to scouting the reaches of Mordor on a number of occasions, but I don't know much else of him. Gandalf thinks the Shade of Isildur may know more. Perhaps, Pineleaf. Perhaps. But something gives me pause. It is Gandalf's desire for knowledge that compels him to pursue this course. He wishes to oppose the will of Karazgar, and he believes that uncovering the secrets of the Black Book of Mordor will prove crucial to that aim. But I don't know that I agree. Sometimes knowledge is buried for a reason, and bringing it out into the light of day only serves to reopen wounds once healed, to renew grief once accepted. 3,000 years have passed since the War of the Last Alliance and the Siege of Barad-dûr, but for my people it seems still near. I remember the grief of those years and the hurts we suffered. What can be gained by dwelling upon that sad tale? Sauron was defeated, but at great cost, and not forever. I fear what the Shade might say, Pineleaf. He was once the son of Elendil, High King of the Númenóreans, but that was long ago. He spent the centuries since then in darkness. It must have left a mark upon him. I will go to you in friendship to Tol Sent, but I urge you and Gandalf to treat carefully with the Shade, and to guard against sweet-seeming words. He's not what he once was, and I fear Gandalf may let the pursuit of knowledge blind him to that fact. And he has other reasons for not wanting this that will be revealed, I think, way at the end of the story. I guess back to meet up with Gandalf, Elrond, and Glorfindel in Tol Send. Oh, okay, and not to the Beorning Who's, but to Tol Send. Back to Tol Send. And it looks like we've got quite a company here, and a chill breeze disturbs the petals on the Isle of Flowers. What do you say about that, Gandalf?
We must learn what we can from this shade. Let courtesy guide your words.
Let courtesy guide your words, for such windows on the past are rare and must be carefully opened, lest they close for good. All right? Or lest they hurt you when they open? Well, let's see what Isildur has to say.
The bonds of sleep in which I was held have loosened, but some still remain.
Greetings to you and your companions, Pineleaf. The bonds of sleep in which I was held have loosened, and many of them have already fallen away. My memory has begun to return to me, slowly. There are still gaps in my recollection. But know this, if you aid me, I will do what I can to help you in return. I ask for only one thing. I ask for vengeance. Nay, not truly, for the target of my vengeance must be long vanished. I ask for peace, for a settled mind. I cannot yet remember the ambush that brought me low and ended the lives of my sons, but I know it was not the work of orcs alone. I was betrayed, though I cannot see the face of my betrayer. I ask that you help me learn the identity of this traitor. The passage of time has brought him beyond my reach, but I will not rest until I know the reason for his treachery. In that I will take some comfort and find rest. What say you, friend? I will do whatever I can to help. Then my memory is yours, Pineleaf, and may the empty spaces in my recollection heal and provide some knowledge that will be of use to you. All right?
What is it you wish to know?
What was that last bit? Yes, why we called it the Great Alliance. It took years to assemble enough soldiers from many different lands, and yet some years spent in fighting. We thought it was at the end of the world. It seemed the war would last forever. Hmm. I know an elf named Moguldir. He befriended my sons, if I remember right, and he fought alongside them during the siege of Barad-dûr. And there was another, too. A warden of sorts, the same as you, who adventured with my sons during the last days of the war. Yes, let me tell you what I remember of this warden, and through those words you may have learned something of use concerning Moguldir the elf. But before I tell you this tale, you would first need to recover something. The orcs spent countless years delving into muck of the gladdened fields, and they brought the things they found to their various camps in the area. Go to the encampment southwest of here and retrieve a weathered-stained coffer from within the camp. Its contents will refresh some of my memory, and then I will speak to you of the warden who befriended my sons, and was allied with Moguldir, the elf. Alright, so we need to go and find something that belonged to a warden in the past. This seems to be the camp that Isildur described. So let's go and take down a few of these sentries and see if we can find this lost equipment. Assuming it's still around after all these years. Hey, don't do that. You're overseeing the operations here? You'll oversee your death now. Let's see. Let's make sure that I don't go into as crisp as we go around here. Here we go, and now that we have the level cap areas, I believe that the new areas are going to cover everything from 120 to 130. That means everything up to the War of Three Peaks. That means the end of the Black Book of Mordor and the start of the Legacy of Durin. So what I'm thinking is that maybe I should end the season when I get to the end of the Black Book of Mordor. And what I could do then is, for the Legacy of Durin, I could... Oops. And for Legacy of Durin, I could start a new season. Probably it'll be the final season for the Legacy of Durin. And that'll go and start with this area and then continue on into Gundabad. Because we have a lot of content to cover here, so it's likely that I won't finish this before Gundabad is released on this server anyway. So if that's the case, is this the wooden chest I'm supposed to be looking for? Or is that... No, that's just a regular treasure chest. Okay. Well, now, did I go to the wrong place? Oh no, I've already picked it up. Okay. Here is a good place to put the coffer. There you go. What do you say about that, Elrond?
This is very interesting.
Yes, the half-orcs must have pulled the chest from the mud as they scoured the gladdened fields for treasures. Elrond opens the lid of the coffer and examines the items within. Old pieces of equipment, small trinkets, and time-worn artifacts of unknown value. Curiously, the armor is very close to hobbit-sized, and would fit your own hobbit proportions with little difficulty. These things are no doubt possess some measure for their owner. But to the half-orcs they would have seemed to be of little worth. The chest must have remained in the mud of the Gladden Fields, forgotten and ignored for many years. Alright, by a hobbit. Well, interesting.
There was one such as you who befriended my sons and fought alongside the Great Alliance.
This box contained all of her possessions. After the war, she came north with us on the doomed road and died there. But I could say much of her story before ending, and you may learn something worth knowing of Moguldir. As I speak to you of times long past, you are welcome to take as a reward whatever items you will. She was a warden, the same as you, and she would be pleased at her possessions to be once again of service in the fight against evil. Take a close look at these memories of the Great Alliance, and I will speak to you of the Siege of Barad-dûr. So use the memories of the Great Alliance and be transported to Mordor besieged the Second Age. So this, of course, is a reason. Actually, where are these memories of the Last Alliance? And this is essentially a reason to allow the player to participate in the Last Alliance, despite the fact that there's absolutely no way we could possibly have been there. Here we are, looking back and remembering what happened 3,000 years ago. What will we learn in these memories? Let's start to explore that in the next episode of The Complete Pineleaf.